Perhaps I need to give you a little background, because you sound a little quiet. Okay, this gentleman who's definitely been an icon on the Chicago scene. Then he kind of dropped out for about a year. He came back just for this one show, okay? This is not like a new comeback to comedy. No, he's just come back just for the bookworm. Just because he knows that you motherfuckers found the best, so you are getting the best. This gentleman has opened up for everyone, from Tracy Morgan to Dave Chappelle. Very funny guy, one of my personal favorite comics. Please welcome to the stage, Dave Vaughn!
It's getting awkward. Yay! Still holding. Yeah!
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually done a headlining comedy set in over a year. So you know, if it's not funny, that's why. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client is a simpering pussy. He's a bitch, he's a fat, doughy, sad, lonely, tiny little man who can't win a fight with a baby rabbit, let alone a scary, hulking beast of a black teen. This man, we have heard half a dozen people testify what a simpering piece of shit this guy is. When there is a thunderstorm, this guy hides in the closet and pisses his pants because he's that much of a fucking pussy. This guy, I swear to God, I'm not even talking about my client. I'm not even a lawyer anymore right now. Just this, what a piece of shit this guy is. Just a fucking like the biggest pussy I've ever met in my life. Anyways, so that's why I had to shoot the kid. Why? I don't understand why the prosecution didn't just come back and say, yeah, that's really good. They just determined that this guy's the biggest pussy you've ever met in your life, which is exactly why he needed a gun to win a 45-second fight with a child. Done. Oh man, I have now. Generally speaking, I do not delete people off of my Facebook page, but in the last week, I have had to delete 6 people, just because I can't. This is something I've come to the realization. The people that you meet that are just out of their goddamn mind, crazy, racist, homophobic idiots, those people believe what they believe because they only surround themselves with people that believe the same exact things. They reinforce all the stereotypes they believe in with the Fox News and the blogs that they go to and the people that they hang out with. And that's why their worldview is so fucking crazy. So I decided maybe they have a point. Maybe instead of incorporating everyone into my life, I will take all the crazy, racist, homophobic assholes out of it and surround myself with people that maybe think other human beings are equal human beings. And then just maybe my worldview will change to, hey, maybe people aren't a bunch of assholes. So that's good. That's what I'm dealing with right now. You would be surprised, like, the people that are always talking about how slippery slope this, slippery slope that, if you let them take the guns away from the crazy guy that's going to shoot up the playground, well, next thing you know, they're going to take all your guns away. Slippery slope! Listen, support the troops, first and foremost, alright? Give it up for the troops, support the troops. But also, I need to have as many AR-15s as I could possibly buy so I can murder the troops if they ever come for my AR-15s. That's all these people talk about. Slippery slope this, slippery slope that. Everything's going to lead to this extreme, crazy, paranoid thing that they come up with. But for some reason, they have no idea, no problem with a court case that says, hey, you can just walk up to anyone you want, shoot them in the heart, and then just say you were defending themselves. Just be like, I was scared. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy myself a gun. I'm going to go to Florida and I'm going to go to a haunted house. And I'm just going to start shooting everyone that works there in the face. And then when they try to arrest me, I'll be like, I was scared. He scared me. I mean, I was walking through this place and this guy runs out with a chainsaw. I was scared. And he was black. So I just don't understand how, like, in a court of law now, it's okay to prove that you're terrified of black people, and that's the reason why. No, I mean, look, he was scary. I'm scared of black people, and I love the fact that the conservatives right now are like, he's not white, he's half white, all right? And on top of that, he was a registered Democrat. Weird. The only Democrats you agree with are the ones that murder black children. That's the Democrat you seem to step forward for and be like, I support this guy! And Paula Deen, too! She's freedom of speech! Awesome. America, right? We're doing it. So I love coming to Rockford. I still have not visited the beefaroo, though, unfortunately. I prefer the meat-opotamus on the other side of town. And I can't wait for the porktopus to open up. Porktopus. Sounds like one of those weird sex moves. So I spend a way too much of my time arguing with idiots on Facebook, which I'm trying to change. But since I haven't done comedy in a year, I need something to occupy my time. And I love that this is the new thing, that the crazy racist bigots, they basically tell you, you're a bigot. No, you're a bigot. Yes. This guy that goes on and on about how queers and faggots shouldn't be able to get married and they're all perverted deviants, and you're like, well, yeah, you're a bigot. And he's like, I'm not a bigot, that's just a fact. I'm like, just because you believe the things you say and try to justify, like, you can't just be like, yeah, I hate fucking black people. I mean, look, there's a lot of black criminals, so I'm not a racist. No, you just explaining why you're an asshole doesn't make you not an asshole. I don't know when that became a thing to just call, like, it's insane to me because I'll be talking to somebody who'll be like, yeah, I don't like these goddamn queers and I don't think they should be able to get married because it's gross and it's wrong and it's against God and the Bible and they are perverted deviants. And you're like, wow, you're a real bigoted prick, aren't you? And they're like, you need to respect my beliefs. Fuck you. So this is the new precedent we're setting in America now. So next time you see, let's say you're driving down the street and you see a pickup truck in front of you with a license plate that says redneck on it, right? And it's got a bumper sticker that says proud to be a redneck. And it's got like a bunch of stickers on the back of gun manufacturers and stuff and stuff about the Second Amendment and stuff. What you need to do is you need to cut that person off and get into an altercation with them and immediately shoot them in the face as soon as they get out of the truck. And just be like, oh, well, I was scared because his bumper sticker said he was a redneck and, he was just going to make meth anyways. He was just going to go he was just going to be another statistic anyway. He's a sister fucking wife beating meth head. So it's a good thing I shot him in the face now before he could do all that stuff. So, let's see. Should I do any material or should I just keep ranting about shit? I don't use my GPS anymore. I have a GPS, but I don't use my GPS because if your GPS was another human being sitting in your passenger seat giving you directions to a place, after about 15 minutes, you would just beat the fuck out of him and tell him to get off on the side of the road. Okay, hey Dave, yeah, so we're going to go to the mall. All right, get on this street right here, make a right onto that street. Okay, now continue on this street for a while. All right, in about a mile, you're going to take a left. on the next street. In about 3/4 of a mile, the next street that's coming up, take a left. In about a half mile, that street I reminded you about earlier a few seconds ago, take a left on that. Okay, in a 1/4 mile, street's coming up, 300 feet, 100 feet, take a left. Okay. Now you see the highway up there? Yeah, you're going to get on that highway and just, okay. Now get on the highway, merge onto the highway ramp. Okay, now merge off the ramp onto the highway. Thank you, GPS. I didn't know how to get onto the highway. Usually I just drive through the fucking guardrail. So that's a thing. Does anyone have any specific topics they want to discuss tonight, or anything? I'll take requests. I mean, I didn't really prepare anything. Because if you don't do comedy for a year, the best thing you can do is go up on stage completely unprepared. Parking? I assume that's a request for a joke that you already know about.
Yes.
I find that that dating is a lot like trying to parallel park your car. For those of you that live out here, I mean, you can probably just park anywhere because nobody wants to live here. But if you go to the city of Chicago and you try to park, it's kind of rough. It's kind of like trying to find that perfect relationship, you know? You want to go to this bar because there's something awesome going on there. And you get down there to Wrigleyville, and what's going on, right? Every space is taken. And you're just driving around and driving around and driving around. And goddamn, you're not going to pay $20 to park, right? Not yet. You're not that desperate yet, right? Maybe you are, fucking suspenders vest guy. But, you know, come on. So you drive around the block, and you drive around the block, and you finally, you see a spot across the street. You see your opportunity, right? And you're like, I am going to get that spot. That spot is mine. And right before you make the U-turn to take it, some douchebag named Steve in a Mustang takes it. And you know he's just going to treat it like shit and leave it in the morning. And he gets it every time anyways. Spot's not going to learn his lesson. Let some guy in a Camaro named Kyle parking it the next night and then pitch at you about it 2 months later when you want a committed relationship because all men are dogs. I'm just going to be a lesbian. No, you just make shitty decisions. That's your problem. That's not my fault. Well, once in a while you do find the spot, right? And you get right in there right away and everything fits perfectly. Or you just completely fuck it up from the get-go and this car alarm's going off and you're hitting the curb and scraping shit and you're just like, I don't even know why I wanted this shit in the first place. I'm going home. But when you do find that spot and you're there for a while, eventually you decide it's time to move on, right? It's been a couple years. You gotta move on. Things are done. You're tired. You're over with it, you know? And you get back to your car there to find out what? There's a big van pulled up to your bumper on one side. You're wedged up against the curb on the other side. You can't get out no matter what you do. So you go back into the same club for a while, and you just can't really take it anymore. You know, and you finally just go, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And you get back in your car, and you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and you wind up fucking the van's sister, and back and forth, and the van is broken and destroyed, and it's never going to be the same again, but at least you're free. Right? Ever happened to you guys? You're parking your car. You know, dating is a lot like a box of chocolates. Most of it is stuff you're not going to want to eat in the first place. When you do find the one you really wanted, somebody else already stuck a finger in it. Kind of ruined it for everyone else. It's all broken and gooey and dripping. But sometimes you eat it anyways, you know? It's a chocolate cream. You don't pass that up. Who's with me? Good times. All right. What else do we want to talk about? Anyone?
Cheese.
Cheese. Fuck you. Give me like a broad topic of discussion, you know?
Crazy mother-in-laws.
Crazy mother-in-laws.
Yeah.
Am I fucking wearing a blazer up here? What is this, 1983?
Jesus.
Something.
What about Jesus?
Jesus and movies.
Texas filibusters.
And filibusters. Alright. Jesus. Alright. Religion's fun. Who's religious, huh? I'm not very religious. I decided at the age of 12, I'm like, wait a minute, Santa Claus isn't real and the Tooth Fairy isn't real. Come on, adults, what the fuck are we doing? Because in our country, we like to teach our kids that Santa Claus will bring them presents if they're good all year long. And if they're bad, they're going to get coal in their stocking and they're not going to get any presents at all. Which I think is why Republicans are such dicks, because they think they're going to get free fossil fuels. But this is the thing, is like when a kid's 10 years old, we sit them down and be like, hey, remember when we told you Santa Claus wasn't real? Or remember when we told you that Santa Claus is real, he's going to come bring you presents and give you all these great things and it's going to be amazing, and he's going to reward you if you're good and he's going to punish you if you're bad, and he's watching over you at all times and knows everything you're doing, and is sorry, we lied to you, that's not true. We just made that up to keep you in line, make sure that you didn't get out of line, We just wanted you to behave yourself, and we just wanted to hold this imaginary being over your head that watches you at all times and gives you presents if you're good and doesn't give you presents if you're bad, and it's completely made up, and sorry, we lied to you. But Jesus is real, though. Keep on believing in Him. If you're good all your life, you're going to go up to heaven, hang out with Him for all eternity. If you're bad, you're going to go to hell. I know sounds like the same exact thing, but it's totally different. Listen, just take all the things that we've crammed into your head since you were little, because that's what our parents did to us, and then impose those ideas and beliefs on others. And when they don't accept what you accept, hate them. Now go out and play, just not with any Jews or Muslims. Right? That's what we like to do. Sorry, kids, if you just learned that Santa Claus isn't real. But, it's better you learn now than have to call your mom a lying bitch later. So, it's not even close to Christmas right now, so you still get presents. It doesn't matter where it actually comes from your parents, so that's actually a good thing. You should appreciate your parents more, not some imaginary fat bastard. I like the signs they put on churches that are supposed to inspire us as we drive by. They say things like, he who hath not the Son of God hath not life, or Jesus is the true way, or without the Son you can't have the Father, or silly Jews. I saw a sign on a church the other day and it said, give Satan an inch and he'll be a ruler. And I think that just goes to show how arrogant we've become here in America, that we just assume that Satan uses the same system of measurement as we do. Most of the world's on the metric system. I'm guessing Satan uses the metric system. So this time in a church the other day was really weird. It said, Jesus is in me, so is Father O'Malley. It's weird. Second part was written in finger paint, so who knows? Might have been blood and feces. I don't know. I didn't get that close. Seemed about the right color for that. Let's talk more about conservatives, huh? Yeah? No? Fun thing when you're talking to a conservative who is most often a white man or a white man's wife, they will often say that that the characterization of them as being racist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, and everything else phobic that their entire ideology is based on is somehow baseless and accusatory and not true. But it's funny because every time you ask them, well, just ask them this question and just be like, hey, can you explain to me why, if the Republican Party is not racist, homophobic, xenophobic, and Islamophobic, why 90% of the people that self-identify as Republicans are white? Mm-hmm. And then throw in this, and try not to give me a racist answer. Because they will tell you, flat out, they'll be like, well, that's just because minorities want free stuff. And they're on the plantation of the liberals, and they believe that the liberals are going to help them, when in fact they just want to keep them on these welfare programs and give them free stuff and keep them under the white man's thumb. So what you're saying is, the reason that minorities avoid you guys like the plague is because of the things you just said about them. Right? That's a good time. I like animals. Who likes animals?
Yeah.
You like animals? Kids, you like animals? Are your names like Cody and Brian or something like that? You seem like a Cody and a Brian. What are your names? What?
Grant and Warren.
Graham and Warren. Are there Grant and Warren? I'm sorry, I'm an asshole. Grant and Warren, do you have any jokes you want me to do? No, not at all. Here's one you can tell at school. What's the difference between a Southern man and a priest? Anyone know? Southern man and a priest. A priest will fuck other people's kids. Don't really tell that one at school. That was a joke. All right, good. Yeah, so I really enjoy animals. I've always been into animals. And I have this weird connection with cougars. Not like, older ladies. I mean like the animal, mountain lions, cougars. It was 1996. I was driving in Skokie, Illinois with a friend of mine. I was a passenger in his car, and we were driving past the forest preserve. And it was like middle of winter, snow on the ground. And I have this habit of whenever I drive past a field or a meadow or anything like that, I look out into it to see if there's any animals grazing, a deer or maybe a coyote or a fox running about. Because when I was a kid, my father, for fun, would take us to the forest preserves and we would drive around and look for animals because that was free and he was a Jew. So we're driving past this forest preserve and I'm looking out over the forest preserve, and as the trees clear away, I look out into the meadow. It's covered in snow, and I see a black panther walking through this field. Not like a black panther, but like an actual black cat walking through this field. And I know what I saw because I had been into animals my whole life, and I knew it wasn't a cat or a dog. I could see its shoulders going, like when you see a large cat stalking its prey, you can see the shoulder blades going. And it had a big, long, curly tail that came up, unlike any domestic cat. And so I freaked out, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a black panther walking through this field, turn around. And we turned around, and it was gone. It had run off into the bushes or whatever. And I called the forest preserve, and I told them, I'm like, hey, I saw this black panther walking through the forest preserve. At the time, I just thought some rapper lost his pet. I didn't know what was going on. And so I bring the forest preserve officer there, I show him where I see it, and he just kind of shrugged it off and said, it's probably a dog or something, nothing to worry about. So, a few years later, you start to hear about these cougars up here in Lake County. I don't know if you guys remember that, around 2004. People were having cougar fever. They were seeing this pair of cougars in their backyards. And they'd be like in Libertyville and Mundelein, like they'd get all these reports in the same day of people seeing these cougars everywhere, and the news would come out, and there'd be an expert that would be like, one day it'd be like, oh, there's definitely big cats, we found a footprint, and then the next day they'd be like, no, it's just coyotes or something, people are crazy. So that story kind of faded away, never heard much more about it. And then in 2006, I'm driving through Lake County, Illinois on St. Ann Road with a friend of mine, and it's about 11 o'clock at night, and we're about to pass over some train tracks, and a large animal runs across the street in front of the car. And my friend, who knew nothing of this fascination I had with large cats, said, was that a fucking cougar? And I said, yes, it was a cougar, and I'm going to prove it to everyone. My response to a 200-pound wild cat running by the front of my car at 11 o'clock at night in a rural area was to pull over, grab a flashlight, and run after it. And I got about maybe 100 yards into my run before I was like, what am I going to do if I catch up to it? No, I just want to prove you exist. Go back to my car with my intestines in my hands like, this ain't coyote wounds. So once again, I call the Lake County Sheriff's Office and I say, hey, last night I saw a mountain lion, a cougar, running around in your county. And they said, hey, we got a similar report last night as well, but it's probably nothing, I wouldn't worry about it. And I'm like, what do you mean there's a giant cat running around this neighborhood and you're just not going to worry about it? Like, just wait a second. One of these days, one of these things is going to wind up in Chicago and you guys aren't going to know what to do. Well, guess what happened in 2008? cougar wound up in Chicago. It came down the train tracks from God knows where, not on a train. It like walked on the train tracks, jumped over a fence somewhere along the metro tracks, and wound up in Roscoe Village, the whitest, like yuppie douchebag neighborhood you could possibly think of in Chicago. And it was 7 minutes away from the Lincoln Park Zoo, with the big cat house and the tranquilizer guns and the snares and nets and everything that they would need to catch this thing. But the Chicago police are like, we get to shoot something. So Chicago police showed up in droves about this large cat, and they cornered it and shot it 15 times. Yeah, 15 times they shot this thing. Chicago police, that is a beautiful wild animal that hasn't been documented in Illinois in over 200 years. Not an unarmed black guy. What are you guys doing? It's like you didn't even read your handbooks. The Chicago police superintendent was doing a press conference after this, and he said, the animal, it lunged at officers, so we didn't really have a choice. It lunged at officers while cowering under a porch 300 feet away as they shot it through a wrought iron fence. I guess that's cowering, or that's lunging for the Chicago police. And he said, after we shot it, we found a gun on its body and a knife, and it had some crack cocaine, and it was brown. So if it's brown, shoot it down. That's our slogan here at the Chicago Police Department. You can get bumper stickers and t-shirts on our website. So that happened. A few years ago, I was in Peoria, Illinois, doing a show down there in Peoria. And if you don't know, there is a place in Peoria called Prairie Wildlife Park. Prairie Wildlife Park is a place you can go to see all of our native wildlife out in the open. They just fence off big areas of the woods, and you get to see bobcats and coyotes and wolves and things in their own habitats, and it's pretty cool. But before I went and walked around the grounds, I stopped into the Nature Center, and the guy behind the counter at the Nature Center was putting some candy on the counter to sell for the day, and I said to him, I'm like, hey buddy, I bet those bears like those Reese's peanut butter cups, huh? So you're not supposed to feed the bears. I'm trying to be a funny guy. And without missing a beat, he looked right at me and said, no, actually, they like human flesh. And then he knocked on his polyurethane leg. I swear to God. And I said to him, just out of curiosity, sir, how did you lose the leg? And he said, well, funny story, a few years back I was out in the bear pens putting out some food, and wouldn't you know it, one of the bears had not been secured properly. It was still loose in the pen with me, and it came over and attacked me for about 10 minutes, tearing and shredding at my legs until somebody came and rescued me. To which my next inquiry was, why the fuck do you still work here? If there was ever an excuse in the world to quit your job, I think bear ate legs at work is top of the list. If you worked at a TGI Fridays and a bear made reservations on a Saturday night and came into your section and ate your legs off your body, last day at TGI Fridays, 100% of the time. You know that Jeff is always stealing my tables. When that bear came in and ate my legs, last straw. I mean, sure, they were slathered in Jack sauce, but come on. And not only does the guy still work there, but he actually didn't have the bear put down or anything. He actually went out of his way to make sure that the bear wasn't put down or harmed in any way. And that's insane to me, because I'm a nature lover and I'm a nature guy and I love animals just the same as he does probably. But he said to me, he's like, these animals are just wild animals and we keep them in these cages, and sometimes they just revert to their instincts and act like wild animals, and I just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I was like, I can't really be this calm about that, because if that was me, I'd be like, hey guys, yeah, you know that bear that ate my legs? Oh, yeah, I know, it's just a wild animal, didn't know what it was doing and all that. But can you fucking kill that thing in the most painful way possible with like power tools and shit and make its kids watch? And then you find some medical way to give me its legs. And I will walk around for the rest of my life with bare legs while wearing shorts as a message to all other bears not to fuck with Dave Odd. What happened? True story. The funniest thing is that that the guy wasn't using that as a like kind of a trump card, you know. Like if you got your legs eaten by a bear, you're probably one of 5 people in the entire world that is alive that can say that, you know. Like that's your get out of jail free card for the rest of your life. Sir, do you know why I pulled you over tonight? A bear ate my legs! Oh, you're free to go. You just killed a lot of kids in that playground you drove through, but they're dead. They don't have to live without legs. That's fucked up. Honey, why are you getting home at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday? A bear ate my legs! Don't you remember that? I'm sorry. You can find somebody to fuck your 2/3 of a body. You have at it. So that's a thing. I also have I have this. I've actually had these shirts for over 2 years now, and you need to fucking buy them. I only have a few left, but they're only $10. You can have it.
I have one.
Do you have one? Oh yeah, you do have one. Anyways, so yeah, it's a bear ate my leg shirt. It's real funny. And when people see you wear it, they'll be like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Oh, there's this comedian I saw, and it was about that." Just wear it to sleep in. I don't care. Good times. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before I go? Kids, you got anything you want me to talk about? No? You sure? What are you guys doing up right now anyways? Shouldn't you be asleep? What's going on? What's with your parents? I guess it is summer. It's very irresponsible. You guys should be at home watching a violent movie right now. Or playing a video game where you shoot everyone in the face. This is the thing about all the violence that has been going on now. After the Sandy Hook thing, the NRA actually started saying, "Oh, it's these video games. That's the problem. Not that we want to make sure that every crazy person has a gun, but it's those goddamn video games."
Yeah.
That's where you're going with that. The video games. You know what? Because I'm a pretty angry guy. I watched a lot of movies. I played a lot of video games. I'm not going to go walk into a mall and start shooting people point blank range in the face because I was playing Resident Evil. I'll fuck up some zombies if I ever see those assholes, though. Because I know if you shoot a zombie in the neck, his head will come right off. So bring it on, zombies. And all you self-righteous people out there that are so against video game violence, you're going to thank God when the zombies finally do attack, because we have an army of 16-year-old zombie slayers that are going to save all our asses. I think they should just go ahead and make a video game called School Shooting. Right? That way, kid can just go ahead and scan in the pictures of the people he doesn't like from his yearbook. They pop up right there in the game. He can shoot everyone in the face in virtual reality. No one ever gets hurt. You know, and then he can make a DVD copy of the game he just played, send it to all the people that appeared in it with a note that says, "Leave Johnny alone, motherfucker." Problem solved. Dave Odd, everybody. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. Good to be back.
Keep it going for Dave Odd, everyone! If you're going for yourself, and I definitely got to give a shout out to one particular member in the audience for actually one of our mayoral candidates. And Dave, is how fucked up Rockford is. Okay, I voted for this gentleman, the Republican candidate. He's the only mayoral candidate who didn't fuck over black people in Rockford. And he's also into the paranormal. Dave's also a big paranormal guy. So you guys should talk after the show and like exchange ghost stories or something.